Perfect 10. Professional Lucha Dorgan, Vader Rodder, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge, aka Lucha Libre, all day. Hey, everybody, Roddy here. This is the WSE Lounge. Hey guys, I'm Robert Potter Watkins. I play Dylan Quartermain on General Hospital, and you are listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey, y'all, we're Johnny Dixie, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. This is country music singer Ashley Carson, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey, what's up? This is Mark Anthony Samuel from the ABC General Hospital. You know me as Felix Dubois. You're listening to the WSE Lounge. Hi, I'm Luis Vidal. I play Sonny on General Hospital. I play Sonny Corinthos, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey, this is Kristen Alderson, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of the WSE Lounge, and our my new Sid here on the WSE Lounge is behind me, has everybody up until through next Wednesday of that we've ever interviewed here on the WSE Lounge on the show, including my guest that I will announce in just a few minutes, the Taker of Arms, Mr. Rex Andrews. But first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that the next ROW Fantasy Camp will be held Saturday, January the 27th, 2018. It'll be held by Booker T. And for more details on that, you can go to www.realityofwrestling.com. So please go and check that out. Booker T is training guys every day to become the next Ric Flairs and Hulk Hogan's and Stings of this great wrestling industry. And ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me welcome to you a man who comes out of Reality of Wrestling, owned by Booker T. He is none other than the Taker of Arms, Mr. Rex Andrews. Welcome to the WSE Lounge, Rex.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. Like you said, this is exciting. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you, man. I appreciate you having me.
You are more than welcome, sir. It is an honor to have you on the WSE Lounge today, and you are a man that targets your opponent's injuries, kind of like Samoa Joe does. And one thing that I want to know by saying that, because I compare you to Samoa Joe with a man that targets his opponent's injuries. I want to know who's the toughest athlete that's been able to match up to you that you have wrestled against.
Okay, so I would say I don't target people's injuries. What I do is I focus in on a body part, because I feel like in any fight, the objective is to win, right? So my objective is to I target the arm, and that's what I built my game around. That's my game plan when I go in.
Okay.
So break down the arm so I can get a submission win. As far as like the most, the toughest guy that I've stacked up against, the Mysterious Q, reality wrestling star. He's a top athlete anywhere in the world. Outside of that, former UFC fighter Matt Riddle is a guy that I had a great 25-minute match with here recently.
Oh wow, man! Now Matt Riddle is out of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, correct?
Matt Riddle is just a worldwide traveling pro wrestler. He's out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but that guy's everywhere. UK, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. He's all over the place. Okay.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you. Now you also were the television champion of Reality of Wrestling, and I want to know. Now you held this belt against all comers. I mean, everybody that came against you, you held on to the title against them. But what I want to know is how do you see your style different from that of WWE Hall of Famer, the Enforcer Arn Anderson, who held the WCW Television Championship for a record amount of time against all comers, and that of former WWE wrestling superstar Rob Van Dam, who also held the ECW Television Championship for a long time. So what would you say that differs from them compared to your reign?
Okay, so, the television championship, like you said, there's a lot of different lineages of a lot of talented guys. Guys like, Arn Anderson obviously held it in a different era. Mm-hmm. And, he's the enforcer. He's a big powerhouse guy, and he could always go in there and enforce his will and hit him with that nasty spine buster. Rob Van Dam was so successful with his television championship because he was so innovative. He was creating new styles and matches and having classics with guys like Jerry Lynn every week. My style, again, has been about developing realism in pro wrestling and finding that ability to enforce my game plan. So that's my thing is, man, I'm the precision tactician. I go in there with a game plan and I execute it. So that's why I stand out separate than all those other guys who've had television championship reigns.
Okay. So you would kind of compare yourself just a little bit, but not all the way. You'd kind of compare yourself to that of the style of a Dean Malenko or a Jerry Lynn or a William Regal.
Fantastic. Yeah, those guys are fantastic technicians, and I think that's really important. I've always prided myself on my technical ability. I think in pro wrestling it's important to stand on your own 2 feet, though, and not make too many comparisons.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, you got to have an original, for yourself, and not try and be somebody else,
Absolutely.
I mean, because there is only one taker of arms, Rex Andrews, and that's you.
That's it, the precision tactician.
And speaking of that, I got a question for you that came from a fan. And now this is a rather lengthy question, but here's what he said. He says, and this is from Christian Gary. He says, when it comes to getting a chance to compete for Wrestle One, what do you think will be the biggest from wrestling in front of the Japanese wrestling fans as opposed to wrestling in front of an American independent wrestling crowd?
Yeah, so I'm assuming he's just saying what's the biggest difference between wrestling in front of those audiences. First, I want to say Christian Gary's always been a great supporter. Appreciate you sending a question in. Second, the audience, your audience is always going to dictate the way in which you wrestle. There's a lot of different styles of pro wrestling. Like if you go back and you watch the territory days, Mid-South wrestling is very different than what the WWF at the time was doing. And it just kind of evolves, and there's always going to be that certain style of wrestling. Reality wrestling is a very TV-based style of pro wrestling, in which we're doing TV-style matches, and we're doing a lot of promos in between. Where Wrestle One, I believe, is more live event-based, and it's more based on competition than it is about storylines or character. So it's going to be interesting to go in with more of a competition-based mentality, but compete in that Japanese mindset, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering that question for Christian Gary. Now, I know that the wrestling audience in Japan is very different than that of the American audience, and I know that they really get behind and they really support the athletes in the ring. I mean, they really do such a great job at that, and they really get carried away. And it's really fun to watch. Like if you watch Okada and Tanahashi, you see the audience compared to John Cena and Roman Reigns. I'm just gonna throw that out there as an example.
Absolutely, yeah.
You see, and you see a different audience, and it's really amazing the energy. I mean that you see in the Japanese audience. I mean they're all riled up. I mean, you would think that you were at a biker rally. I mean, the way the audience just gets so energized, and riled up.
Absolutely. It's a different style of American pro wrestling. People get riled up, like you said, and they get excited. But it's just a kind of a different level of excitement, right? There's like here we're going to be chanting more, might be chanting, this is awesome, and, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, but over there, they're more just reacting to what's happening, and they're just excited for the moment.
Now, I wanna ask you, because I'm interested to know, how did you get your start in the wrestling industry? How did you get your start?
So when I was 16, I started in a local pro wrestling promotion near where I was from in Lower Alabama, and I started wrestling when I was 16, like I said, and I just did that for a couple of years while I was finishing high school, and after that, I looked around the locker room and realized like the level of talent and where I was, and didn't really see how to progress out of that. So I knew I needed to take my career to the next stage. So that's why I moved myself to Booker T's Pro Wrestling School in Houston, Texas, and started training with him.
So how did you get started with Booker T's Pro Wrestling School? I mean, did you get a call, or you just happened to run across them, or what?
Like I said, I was looking around okay, so I want to do something big in pro wrestling, but how do I do it? I know wrestling in Lower Alabama is not the way, so I need to find the right way to get to where I want to go. And I looked around at the schools that were out there, and there was like the Ring of Honor school, I believe Chikara school was running at the time, and I saw Booker T had a school, and I was like, well, if you want to be successful in this business, why not learn from a guy who succeeded at the highest level? So that's what brought me to deciding to go train with Booker T and learn from him.
Okay, well, that is a fantastic answer, and I have got to say that Booker T is a five-time WCW World Champion, and he's also a WWE Hall of Famer, and he's one of the best to be trained by in this business. I mean, if you're going to get any knowledge, I mean, you got Booker T and Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat, and then Booker T went on to have a singles career. He was a breakout star in WCW, he was a breakout star in WWE. And speaking of Booker T, I got to ask you now, before we get into talking more about Japan and everything, I got to ask you, speaking of Booker T, you got the Raw 25th anniversary coming up next Monday night, January 22nd, from the Manhattan Center and the Barclays Center in New York. I want to ask you, do you think there's a chance that Booker T might do an in-ring wrestling spot on Monday Night Raw?
All I can say is Booker stays in shape, and I think he's ready for anything. If he's ready to do whatever he wants to do.
Okay, well, I have to agree with you on that, and as Booker T always said, "Now can you dig that, sucker?" So
say that.
Yeah. So okay, so on to continuing talking about Japan. You won the Fight TV contest that Sonny Ono held. You were the winner and the recipient of that, and Sonny Ono, which is a good friend of mine, as well, and he's a great guy, former guest of the show, but he gave you that spot, and he's seen something in you, that helped you win that contest, and you'll be going and you'll be touring Japan with Wrestle One. I mean, that has just got to feel incredibly honorable for you. I mean, what are
so let's talk
your
about what
thoughts?
that competition was.
Okay.
So Wrestle One was looking for they were looking for the best guy on Fight TV to bring to Wrestle One, and to do a tour with him. So they watch Fight TV, they see reality wrestling, which has become the second most watched pro wrestling program on Fight TV, and they saw myself. They picked me to be the winner, and I'm the Fight TV ambassador, representing reality wrestling, and doing this tour with Wrestle One. Of course, this is a huge honor for me. One, getting to tour Japan for the first time, and two, getting to build this international relationship between two growing companies with Wrestle One and reality wrestling. I mean, this is huge. This is how you take something to the next stage.
Well, hey, I mean, you've got the opportunity and you've got the chance to do that, and I believe that you will do that, and you will take it to the next stage, and touring Japan with Wrestle One for a month, I believe it is. You're going to be there. Is that correct? A month?
That's correct. A month of February.
Okay, and you're going to be able to learn. I believe you're going to be able to learn the culture of how different moves and techniques are practiced in Japan compared to over here in America. You'll be able to learn so much and so much knowledge. And
that's the most exciting thing about this competition is that I get to bring to the fans something that's never been done before. I'm going to be doing a daily video blog of what it's like training inside the dojos of Japan and working at a Japanese pro wrestling company. So, as a fan, as I was coming up, I always wondered what it was like training to be a wrestler and what it was like training in Japan and wrestling over there. So I'm going to get to show the fans with the daily video blog on Fight TV exactly what it's like training and working inside a Japanese pro wrestling company.
Incredible. That's going to be something to behold right there, Rex. I tell you.
Absolutely. That's going to be for free, absolutely free on Fight TV. You just look at the Rex Files on Fight TV and you can find that there. Okay,
I'll be sure and check that out. And speaking of that, I know that just a few days ago that it was announced by Sonny Ono and Booker T of Reality of Wrestling that Reality of Wrestling has reached an unbelievable partnership with the great Muda of Wrestle One. And what exactly does that partnership entail for the future of Reality of Wrestling? Is that going to be a switch of talent going on there, or what?
Well, the first step is me doing this tour with Wrestle One. That's the initial action of that partnership. I'm spearheading this thing, and I'm going to go over there, kind of evaluate and learn to understand their company, and we're going to go from there. I believe down the line we're going to be doing cross-promotional shows in which you'll see Japanese talent, Wrestle One talent, featured alongside reality wrestling talent for Fight TV exclusive content. That's down the line. I haven't heard anything announced yet, but this is just the start of what I'm sure to be. I mean, you're talking about Booker T and the Great Muta, two of the biggest stars in their company's histories, coming together to make something very cool happen. I'm sure this is the start of a lot of cool things to come.
Most definitely. The Great Muta, he's a legend in the business, and I mean, and Booker T on top of that, all the stuff that he's accomplished. I mean, them working together, and plus, don't forget Sonny Ono. You gotta throw Sonny Ono in there too.
The guy who put it all together. Yep.
That's right, and Sonny Ono was tremendously an asset to WCW as he brought in Japanese wrestlers and stuff for the cruiserweight division, and he brought in so much talent and work efforts of the Japanese from Japan for the Japanese audience in WCW, and he's had a great working relationship with Eric Bischoff, whenever he ran WCW, and I just think it's I think it's great. Like you said, it's going to be a great future, I believe, for Reality of Wrestling and for Wrestle One. Now I know that yesterday you did an interview for WrestleZone. So what was that like, being interviewed by WrestleZone?
I mean, it's great. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to do this interview and kind of talk about my story and what's going on.
You're very welcome.
The outreach from the media has been amazing. I've done four different podcasts so far this week, and I have 4 or 5 more interviews lined up down the line. But it's just great that so many people are responding to this business relationship, and to see that the wrestling media is just as excited about this as we are. And we're sure this is just going to be it's a big thing, man. It's just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. It's incredible, and it's amazing in a way. You know, if you look at it, I know that reality of wrestling is, has a TV deal, I believe, in Texas. You know, where they air on television.
No, we're Fight TV exclusive
content. Oh, you're Fight TV exclusive. Okay, because I was thinking at one time that y'all did come on TV in Texas.
We did. We had a local affiliate here in Houston.
Okay.
And then, Fight TV came along, and we signed a deal with them, and just kept the ball rolling from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you corrected me on that, because I was thinking in my head about that.
No problem.
But it's so great, for y'all to have a deal with Fight TV and to be able to air exclusively. I mean, because if you look at it, like Tommy Dreamer's Hardcore House of Hardcore, he has a deal with Twitch, where they air their exclusive content on there. And I believe Impact Wrestling's now got a deal with Twitch where they're airing different content. And, it's really amazing, because if you look around a couple years ago, okay, you had different independent companies that aired on local affiliates, whether it be here in Georgia or Texas or another state, and, they were competing with one another. But now it's more of where they've kind of left the TV airwaves, and you got Ring of Honor, WWE, Impact Wrestling, and that's about it on the television airwaves. And it's like they've left the airwaves now, and they went over to these apps. The Fight One app, the Fight TV app, the Twitch
that's
app.
The future of the business. Like you look at, Ring of Honor airs their content on Fight TV. Impact Wrestling has content available on Fight TV. They also have the Global Wrestling Network. And now WWE is doing Facebook exclusive content. Everybody's moving away from TV, and it's moving into this new, on-demand ability, right? Like you can go on Fight TV and you can watch the latest episode of Reality Wrestling, latest episode of Ring of Honor. You can see a Georgia affiliate, Syndicate Pro Wrestling, or you can see Alabama. You can see local wrestling from a lot of different places, all gathered together on Fight TV, and you can watch it anytime you want to. So the benefits of that, me being a guy in Houston, Texas, being able to watch wrestling from all over the world at any time I want to, is much better than just being on a local television channel at a random time where a lot of people aren't home and available to watch it.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with you most definitely on that. And I wanna ask you now. I'm gonna ask you this question. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back from commercial break with the taker of arms, Rex Andrews. Rex, the question I want to ask you now, because we've talked about Japan, we've talked about reality of wrestling. I want to ask you, what was your favorite organization growing up? Were you a WCW, NWA fan, or were you a WWF, WWE fan?
So I started watching wrestling in 2002. So
okay.
I was always a WWE fan. I was 9 years old at the time. So I was always a WWE fan, but I was always like a real passionate fan, so I was aware of all the other stuff. I remember like when I was 11, I read about the J Cup in Chris Jericho's book, and I bought the DVD on eBay. So I'd already seen like Japanese wrestling when I was 11, and I was aware of Ring of Honor and like all these things from like internet sites. So I was just a passionate fan of this wrestling period. To me, it wasn't about one specific company. I just wanted to see good wrestling.
Okay, well, I have to agree with you on that. Good wrestling is good wrestling, no matter where you get it from, no matter what your cup of tea is, Or
there's different flavors for everybody, right?
Yeah, there is, and you've got I'm trying to remember who it was I had on the show it was about a year and a half ago, I believe it was. They were telling me, I can't remember who it was, but they were telling me that, that there's different flavors, when it comes to wrestling. I mean, because if you think about it, you got your hardcore fans, you got your old school fans, you got your new generation fans, you got your technical style fans. I mean, you got all kinds of different genres out there of different tastes and stuff that people see and stuff, and it's just incredible how far the wrestling business has came since the days of Superstars of Wrestling with Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone, on UPN 69, and I'm sure that you remember those days.
That was before my time.
Okay.
I'm aware of it, though. I'm a historian. I've gone back and I've watched a lot of the old territory wrestling. But yeah, I think that's just kind of like I said, this accessibility that everybody has. This is back in the day. What would happen is somebody would come into a territory and they'd wrestle for a couple months. They do an angle, then they move on to the next territory and kind of do the same thing. But that doesn't really work anymore, right? Because if someone's a fan, say someone's a fan of me, and they watch me at Reality of Wrestling, and then they go to watch me at Wrestle One, and I do the same thing I did at Reality of Wrestling. Well, that's not very interesting, right? You have to keep evolving. You have to keep doing something new.
That's true.
Because everything's so accessible. You can see, my entire body of work online now. So people have to keep evolving and keep growing in their characters. I think that's kind of speaks to why wrestling has grown the way it has.
That's true. And I wanted to tell you a little bit of a wrestling secret. You were talking about things being different and everything in the wrestling business. When I had Dr. Tom Pritchard on the show, I asked him about Jim Cornette and Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, whenever they came over to WCW from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and they were being interviewed on WCW Saturday Night, and I asked Dr. Tom about that, if there was ever any plans for a Smoky Mountain invasion or anything, and he said there was. He said that actually the contracts and everything was laid out on the table. They had it all worked out and planned out, and then I believe it was Bill Watts got in there, and he didn't go along with everything, and so the paperwork and the plans were never finalized, for a Smoky Mountain Wrestling invasion of WCW, where they were going to actually switch talent, have WCW go to Smoky Mountain go to WCW. But I just thought that was an interesting story, because you were talking about how you have to have, if you're wrestling another territory, how you have to have different wrestling and stuff going on. You don't want to do the same thing. I mean, it's like say for instance, if you're in WWE and you're John Cena and you're fighting Roman Reigns, you don't want to go down here to Ring of Honor and go there and say, okay, I'm John Cena, I'm going to fight Roman Reigns again, Be the same thing.
I want to see something new, something different.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Royal Rumble coming up? Because I gotta ask your prediction on this, because you are fixing to go to Japan, and I gotta get your prediction on the women's and the men's Royal Rumble. Who is your picks to win the first ever women's Royal Rumble and the Royal Rumble in the men's competition?
All right, I'll say one of my favorite talents, period, male or female, is Asuka. I think she's amazing, and she's my pick for the women's Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be hard to stop her.
Okay.
On the men's side, I think it's pretty wide open, right? It's up in the air. There's a lot of different things that could happen. But I'll make a bold prediction here, and I'll say Finn Balor wins with help from the club.
Wow, Asuka, I can see that happening, and I respect that, and the Finn Balor help from the club, I can see that going down, and and I mentioned this the other night. I had called into WCW Retro. We have a partnership with them, the Maestro Wrestling. I'm pretty sure you know who that is. He used to. Okay. Rob Kellum, who hosts WSE Retro. I had brought up an interesting concept to them. You're talking about interference in the Rumble, and Matt Hardy being in there doing this Woken gimmick, similar to what he had in Impact Wrestling. I think it would be hilarious if they had Vanguard 1 and little King Maxwell or something interfering during the Rumble and distracted the competitors, and Matt Hardy throwing them over the top rope. I mean, I just think that'd be kind of funny.
They like to do those unique things, right? Like last year they had Jack Gallagher get eliminated with his umbrella. So I think it could be entertaining.
Yeah, I think it'll be very, very entertaining. And also, that one year they had Mick Foley come out as Dude Love, Cactus Jack, and Mankind. So
absolutely.
I mean,
if Vanguard comes out, I'm tweeting you. You called it first. I like it.
Okay. I appreciate that, and I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. But before you go, I do want to let you know I will share this on your timeline so the fans can go back and listen to this great interview. Also, I will tweet it to you on Twitter so the fans can listen, and over on Instagram, I'll also share it on Instagram so the fans.
Send it around. I like it.
Okay.
Let everybody know.
So the fans can hear it. And before you go, do you have anything you'd like? I know you got something to promote, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me get all these plugs in here. So you can follow me on Twitter at Rex Andrews. You can follow me on Instagram at Rex Andrews Grapples. You can check out my website, rexandrewsgrapples.com. But most importantly, go on Fight TV, check out the daily video blog of the tour of Wrestle 1, as well as see what it's like training inside the reality wrestling gym under Booker T. The first episode is up now, the Rex Files on Fight TV. I'm talking about training the basics and looking at the headlock takeover. So check that out and give me some feedback. Send me a tweet on Twitter. Ask me questions. Give me stuff to talk about in these videos.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rex, for being on the show today. And I wish you the best of luck in Japan with Wrestle 1. And I'll be sure and check that out on the Fight TV app under the Rex Files.
What you think, man?
Yeah. And I wish you the best of luck, man, and God bless.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, you're very welcome. Take care.
Right,
okay, bye bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the taker of arms, Rex Andrews, out of Reality of Wrestling, that's owned by the 5-time WCW World Champion and WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. He's going to be heading, as you heard him talk, he's going to be heading to Japan to fight for Wrestle 1, to show everybody what it's like on a daily basis to train at the dojo in Japan, plus to wrestle at Wrestle 1. So it's going to be an incredible experience, incredible journey. Go download the Fight TV app and check out the Rex Files, and you won't want to miss it, trust me. And Wrestle 1 and Reality of Wrestling have got this great deal, partnership now. The great Muda, Booker T, what a combination of styles. And before we end today, I do want to introduce everybody to the new set as you see behind me. I just want to show you really quickly right here. As you can see, these are all different people that have been on the show before. This is over 180-something different great stars that I've had on the WSE Lounge through the years. And I hope that you all enjoy that. And if you can't see behind me, there you go. There's some more people down there. But everybody that's ever appeared on this great show is on the set behind me. Just wanted to show everybody that. And I hope you enjoy the new set. And without any further ado, I want to let you know that next Wednesday, January the 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Patricia Darbo, who plays Shirley Spectra on The Bold and the Beautiful, will be on the WSE Lounge for an exclusive interview. So be sure and tune into that, folks, and you'll also see the announcement going up on the page from my publicist. And without any further ado, I'm going to let Hudson West close out the show.